Hey guys, huge thanks to Respawn and EA for giving me early information about Season 27. I was invited to a special interview with a developer team, and I wanted to share with you all the amazing updates coming to Apex. This includes huge changes to Olympus, buffs to Valkyrie, Rampart, and Horizon, and even introducing a new hop-up on the Alternator. Season 27 Amped is about to be insane. First up, Olympus has been fully revamped, including 4 different POI changes. The first POI being changed is Energy Depot. Remember, the place where everyone falls off the map? Yup, that's getting reworked. It's now called Gravity Engine. Seeing the before and after, there's a ton of new changes. Let's zoom in here. Now, it looks like we no longer have the ramp leading up to the waterfall, and there's also a lot of staircases which could indicate a lot of vertical fights. Here we can see an introduction to zip rails similar to what we have in Broken Moon. Here's Gravity Engine from another angle. Here you can see Respawn is introducing these brand new Horizon lifts in the map, kind of giving it a sort of Horizon map takeover. Personally, I love how many different layers there are. It almost feels like a movement playground. I can already tell that this area will kind of be used for really cool plays. Also, looking at it from the back, it looks like they also got rid of the big zip line leading to a small house going to Rift, and instead they put a ramp here. Overall, since the changes of this POI are towards the center of the map, I kind of suspect that this is going to be one of those new hot drops. The second POI being changed is Orbital Cannon. Now this POI was being underused, so Respawn completely revamped it, and it's now called Summer's University. Now lore-wise, this was actually built by Horizon herself to explore the mysteries of the universe and honor her son Newton. Looking at the map, I already love how many different levels exist. It's almost like one of those mega survival bases in Minecraft, where there's like this beautiful balance of everything in one area. Also, you can see there's more of these Horizon lifts kind of scattered throughout the POI, kind of allowing players to have vertical movement and being able to kind of move around easier. Now these cool little V structures also adds nice terrain, but if you look closely, they're actually buildings as well, which gives more loot and diversity to this POI. Overall, I love the aesthetic and design of Summer's University, and it brings a ton of new life into Olympus. I'm super excited to play here. Now the third POI being changed is Docks, which is now called Stabilizer. Instead of the random buildings scattered on stable ground that we have right now, they're replacing it with a floating disc island suspended by an outer ring. If we zoom in here, it looks like they're also adding varying terrain with the addition of snowy trees and floating rocks. It looks like we're also getting the same zip rails and Horizon lifts that we discussed earlier. Overall, super excited for this POI. Now the fourth and last POI is actually a brand new POI called Dockyard, and it's being added between hydroponics and estates. Now this one takes verticality to a whole new level. There's a whole Titanfall training grounds feel on this right side, which are going to make for some pretty sick plays with movement legends. On the left hand side, it kind of looks like they blended the original Olympus map, kind of similar to like the way Solar Array looks, and added a lot of new zip lines and zip rails for mobility. Overall, a pretty nice addition to the map. I can't wait for this one. Last thing I want to mention is, remember the POI Elysium located at this corner of the map next to hydroponics? Yeah, well, they moved that next to where Summer's University will be. It's also next to where Icarus is, the huge broken ship. Olympus is already my favorite map, but these changes are about to bring a whole new life to it. I feel like some areas were kind of underused, a little too open, especially for rank. In fact, these are what the developers had to say about the upcoming map changes. Olympus has always been one of Apex Legends' most iconic maps. While it's still a fan favorite for many, its wide open fields and sparse cover make it difficult for this map to shine in a competitive setting. We focus on transforming the open areas of Olympus into exciting new POIs that reward skillful play and resolving problematic rotations with terrain reworks and minor POIs. Up next, we have 3 awesome new legend buffs, starting with Valkyrie. Yep, I literally can't believe it. My main, is finally getting a well-deserved buff. In fact, they're buffing every part of her kit. Now here are the changes. Her VTOL jets get a speed boost and recharge 3 times faster. She has a shorter takeoff time for her Skyward Dive ultimate. Her Missile Swarm Tactical gains utility, meaning 0 self-damage, no height restrictions, meaning you can fire these indoors, and it now scans enemies on hit and puts movement. Her new perk upgrades also expand missile patterns, reduce fuel consumption while improving horizontal speed, and significantly boost her ultimate takeoff time. Now here's an image that Respawn was kind enough to share. As you can see, Valk's missiles are scanning enemies, similar to the way Sparrow's Tactical scans enemies with these blue trails. This seriously buffs her role as a recon legend now. You guys know we've been asking for a Valk buff for a long time now, so just wait till next season. We're about to make a ton of new Valk content. Thank you so much, Respawn. Love you guys. The next legend getting a well-deserved buff is Rampart. Here are the changes. Improved amp cover tactical that evolves with gameplay, meaning her walls gain health as Evo level increases. They also grant her speed boost and also include a new roof. Plus, she gets new perk upgrades to take it even further, adding fast reloads and infinite ammo when shooting from behind her amped cover, and regenerating wall health out of combat. Clearly, Respawn saw that Kha'Zix was way too strong while leaving the other controller legends in the dust. Well, Rampart's about to take over this town. See what it did there? The last legend getting a huge buff, and you probably guessed it after all those Olympus changes, is Horizon. These are the new changes. Her Gravity Lift Tactical now has a shorter cooldown and lift speed improvements, her ultimate Black Hole is getting more health, and her new upgrades include creating more opportunities for aerial movement. Out of her gravity lifts, you can actually fall fast by crouching mid-air or glide out for extended aerial control. Also, you gain bonus gravity lift charges on knockdowns. It seems like they understand Horizon was strong before, but this was due to her easy beams when taking her tactical. It seems Respawn is taking a different approach here by focusing on her movement rather than the beaming aspect. Moving on to the Alternator. Yep, this weapon has been statistically weak for a while now since its fire rate just doesn't compare to other SMGs. It also doesn't have disruptor rounds, which makes it shred up close before. However, next season they're about to make the Alternator an absolute machine. They're adding a new hop-up called Double Tap, which allows both barrels to fire at once, making it devastating and deadly in fights. Now the reason why this is very strong is because of how the Alternator is built. You see, the Alternator is called the Alternator because it has two barrels that alternate with every bullet it fires. I suspect this is why the fire rate is slower, because it's having to switch every time it fires, but it does allow for stronger recoil control. However, with weapons like the R99, CAR, and even the RE45 dominating the close quarter meta, the Alternator just can't compete. But with this new hop-up Double Tap, both barrels are being used, which doubles the damage and shred enemies up close. Overall, I'm really glad Respawn revamped the Alternator since it was underused, underpicked, and frankly, underappreciated. Moving on to movement. Now we know movement is a big part of Apex, but let's be real, some of it is hard to perform, especially consistently and in fights. So Respawn is adding a new legitimate movement technique called Mantle Boost. This movement technique gives players a launch forward when climbing up from ledges or walls. Eric Kennedys, the lead Respawn BR designer, stated there will be a Mantle Boost indicator that players can easily see when and how to activate the high octane movement ability, opening up the mechanic and introducing new ways for players to play. Well, I really appreciate Respawn doing this because this technique sounds similar to a Superglide, which for those of you who have tried it, it is a very hard movement to perform. This allows everyone to have access to movement for, yes, a movement-based game. Huge Respawn W, and I can't wait to see the actual implementation of this tech. Also, it looks like Tridents are getting reworked as well. It looks like they're having improved collision and dedicated vehicle health, including visual effects, making them more fun to drive and more satisfying to fight. Pretty cool, especially since Tridents are located in Olympus, which is the map of focus for next season. Next up, some wildcard changes. You guys ready for a new wildcard map? Yep, me too. Cage on King's Cannon was just something else. It looks like next season, Olympus is our next wildcard map. They're also going to introduce a new mythic R99 that shoots missiles similar to Valk's Tactical. To get these missiles, you first have to build the heat by shooting and dealing damage to enemies. There are also new wildcard upgrades, the coolest upgrade being able to heal on zip lines and zip rails. Also, Universal Melee, possibly an heirloom, is being released. It's a set of dual katanas called the Death Duet Universal Melee. Lastly, it looks like Falcon and Watson are going to be getting legendary skins in the upcoming Battle Pass, and the Sentinel is going to be the new reactive skin. That's game over, guys. If you think I run Sentinel a lot, just wait. So I was recently invited to speak directly with Respawn devs themselves, and I'm super excited to share with you all the new changes coming to the Horizon. See what I did there one more time? Oops, sorry. So the very first thing is rank being changed? Well, they're actually working on rank in 3 different ways. The very first way is, you know how in Season 26, you can kind of drop in specific locations where the game chooses for you where to go? And you're like, oh, well, I dropped in a no name and I am not going to have that great loot, compared to someone else being landed to a spot that has really, really great loot. So what they're doing is that they're actually harmonizing all the loot across all the POIs to kind of balance it a little bit more. The second way is KP versus RP. Now, I know in specifically different seasons, one might be more important than the other, right? KP might be more important in one season, and then placement might be more important the next season. So what they're doing is they're kind of finding a way to rebalance it so that way both are important, so not just one. The third way is continuing to play with a good ranked teammate. You know how you usually have to back out of a game, have to add that teammate, go to a party, and then have to queue up again, right? So now they're adding a way where at the end of the game, you can actually find a good, if you have a good ranked teammate, you can go ahead and just queue up with them and then so you don't have to go all the way back and then have to add them. So that's really, really cool. So these are the 3 new rank changes coming to Apex. Now, what weapons are getting buffed and nerfed next season? Well, they're going to bring down the long-range poking, sniping, 30-30 meta. That's going to be gone. So accelerators and skull piercers are actually being removed from the hop-up pool. They're actually now going to bring back close quarters and, you know, close quarter combat meta by kind of bringing out the SMGs, not so much the shotguns, because they're actually going to nerf the PK because they realized it was just a little bit too strong, but they would still want to keep it as a strong and viable shotgun, of course. We were able to ask them how much damage does it do per max damage. 99 damage. So hopefully it's not going to be able to 2-tap anymore, but we'll see. They aren't going to work on ARs at this time because ARs are kind of just like, you know, the balance out of all the different metas, right? If one's weapon type is really weak and one's really strong, ARs are still in the middle. So it's not, they said they might work on it in the future, but not this time. Now, in terms of care package weapons, the triple take comes back to the ground. It's going to have a faster fire rate, so it's going to be nice to be able to use this weapon. In general, just having an energy weapon with a marksman range would be nice. And the car enters the care package. So you know how the car can switch between light and heavy ammunition? Well, guess what? It's not going to be able to do that. It's actually going to be able to swap between disruptor or hammer point rounds. This is going to be insane. The car is about to be one of the strongest care package weapons next season. So, you know, you have the choice to be able to crack shields and then bam, switch it over to diminish health really quick. So that's going to be really exciting. Now the next question is, now for mantle boosting, does this replace Supergliding? Well, it doesn't actually 100% replace it, but it's kind of the official way to Superglide kind of. Now you can actually disable mantle boosting if you prefer the old tech. And you can also customize this with a singular button actually. You know how with Ash's dash and Sparrow's double jump, you know, sometimes you'll accidentally hit a jump ability. Well, guess what? They're actually going to add a separate mapping button so you can actually use the abilities separate from your jump. So that way you're not going to actually, you know, use a double jump or a dash. Even Valk's jetpack should work. So this is really, really exciting stuff. And mantle boosting is kind of a way that introduces everyone to movement without having to spend 10 years in the firing range practicing the timing for the super glide. So really, really exciting stuff. Now the next question is, what's the map rotation for season 27? Well, it looks like the map rotation is going to be Olympus, Broken Moon, and World's Edge. And lastly, heat shields are being removed from the game completely just to see how it works. Now it seems like Respawn is really tackling the whole camping in the storm thing because they, you know, season 26 they upped the damage. So now they're gonna go even further with removing heat shields completely, which I kind of respect a ton. So it focuses on being able to be staying active in fights and learning how to rotate properly. Since I had the amazing opportunity to be invited to this interview with Respawn, let me know if you guys have any further questions in the future just in case I'm invited again. Thank you so much to EA and Respawn for providing all the information in this video. That's going to do it for this breakdown of all the upcoming changes for Season 27. If you want to improve, click here for 100 tips for Apex Legends. Also, be sure to join my Discord, link below, for one-on-one coaching, and I also go over your clips and break down things you did well and things you can improve on. Have a great day.